All right, guys, welcome to the PBJJF Podcast number 66. What a special day here at the PBJJF Podcast. So we're partnering up with the Secret Service agents, and I think will be a great benefit to the Jiu-Jitsu community. And we hope our community can support the agents back, bringing great people to serve our community. Just to start, I want to thank our sponsors. They really keep us going. I would like to thank you, Brave Kimonos, the best jiu-jitsu gear in the market. Santos Lloyd Law Firm, a high-profile immigration law service. PBS CRAWLSPACE Foundation, and Perkins Dental Care. So your dental office in Baltimore area.
And the Toffee's one.
And
He's a jiu-jitsu guy.
he's a jiu-jitsu guy. So, and thank you, the Secret Service. I think it will be a great partnership, great opportunity for our athletes to be able to connect and go through a career, inside the organization. I think will be a great
Good opportunity.
great opportunity.
Well,
Thank you for being
having
here
us.
today.
Yeah, thank you for having us. We're honored to be here on behalf of the Secret Service in the Washington field office. Happy to meet with you guys and talk about any opportunities that the Secret Service has for any of your athletes or practitioners, people that are looking for a career start, a new career, a career change. We have many positions, a diverse career path, so we're happy to talk about that and to engage with any of your students, athletes, or practitioners that want to contact us. We'll give you all of our contact information.
Cool.
And happy to talk anyone through, answer questions, and get them going in the right path.
That's
What
great.
are you looking for when you try to recruit like a new agent?
Well, we generally speaking, if you're talking about agent or uniform division positions, we're looking at 20 for uniform division, but 21 years of age up to 37 years of age, unless they have a military preference. And then there's an extension and a waiver that can be pushed out to 40 years of age. But we want someone that it's a physically demanding position, physically demanding job. The long-term health benefits of being physically active and specifically in something like martial arts, jiu-jitsu, any health sports, anything that keeps you physically active and motivated and moving is a benefit. But we want people that have a passion and a desire to serve. We have a very unique mission set with the Secret Service. It's a job unlike any other with a dual mission of protection and investigation. So we have positions that run a wide career span, but we find that people that are physically active, physically motivated, excel in our application process, our training process to get through our various academies. So that's one of the reasons that we are specifically making a targeted approach to, say, the jiu-jitsu community, the martial arts community, anybody in that sphere that is taking it upon themselves to better themselves.
That's
great.
That's great because like I think connect with like a jiu-jitsu student, or like a black belt, whatever, because the athletic kid try to follow the rules, be disciplined. I think you can connect a lot with your
Have usually a long-term vision, right?
Yeah.
Like if in jiu-jitsu you have to get beat up by 10 years, to become a black belt.
Yeah.
So you learn how to suffer to achieve long-term goals. I think this is extremely important nowadays with the new generation. A lot of short-term, a lot of everything happening so fast, technology.
I think the social media help you on that bad way now.
Yeah.
They have everything access on the screen, whatever.
I think this long-term vision, following rules, discipline. I think it can really. We try to educate people to become better people in life, personal development, and I think is such a great connection for, I think, both ways. But going over, so can you talk a little bit about the history of the Secret Service and of the mission? Like we're talking about the mission a little bit too. So could you guys touch a little bit on that
Sorry,
point?
before you guys start, thank you for the gift. You
Yeah.
know, thank you. Just wanna, because we get that before the cameras get on, you know. But thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
Absolutely. But yeah, so the history of the Secret Service is actually a fascinating one because we were founded in 1865 by Abraham Lincoln. And it was because of all of the counterfeiting that was happening in the like post-Civil War Reconstruction period in the South. And so the Secret Service was really started as an investigative agency, and then we transitioned later into a protective mission. And so we now have this dual mission in the Secret Service of investigations and protection. And so in the first phase of your career, you're really doing both. I did a lot of investigations in the first 3 years of my career, and a lot of protection. So for example, I know you guys are from Brazil. I got to work on shift for the Brazilian president for a while, when he would come and visit the Miami field office. So really fascinating protective stuff. But we transitioned in 2003 to the Department of Homeland Security post 9/11, which kind of has given us a little bit more investigative power, but also we are really focused on our protective mission. So what we do protection-wise is we protect the president, vice president, their families, as well as any visiting foreign head of state. So again, President of Brazil, you'll see, you know, the Prime Minister of England. If they're coming to the United States, we're providing protection for them. And we also do the White House complex as well as the Vice President's complex, the Naval Observatory. And then for protection, for investigations, mostly we're focused on financial crimes. So anything that's directly affecting the financial institutions of the United States.
Sorry, can bring this a little bit closer to you. Nice.
No, that's great. So you have like you have hands on people on the floor, right, on the ground, like working daily. When we go to visit the White House, so the agents we see outside are Secret Service agents.
Yeah, so we have two separate, well, they're the same. They both fall under the Secret Service, but we have the Uniform Division, which is basically our uniform police force that does access control and basically provides protection for the White House complex. And then we have the agents who are providing that more personal protection of a protectee.
Nice.
And also, you also have the office that works into, like you said, the probably a lot of crypto coins nowadays, right?
Yes, huge. Cybercrime is something that we're taking a huge. We get our powers from 18 USC 1030 for computer fraud, and it's really focused on cryptocurrency. We're seeing a lot of BECs, which is like business email compromise, and so really kind of diving into that sphere of cybercrime in general. Again, a lot of it is financial. So if you're trading on the open crypto market online and something happens, usually people call the Secret Service, and that's what we're kind of investigating.
That's good. Okay, so good opportunity for the TI guys too. No, you don't need
IT.
You don't need to just be a coffee guy. You can be there just too.
You probably have to be both, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Physical and smart.
Yeah, well, and like you said, that goes back to the career, the diverse career path. I mean, obviously, you know, we're happy to talk about the agent and uniform division positions. That's a large part, a visible part of what we see. But we have everything from forensics specialists, chemists, doctors, nurses. We have a mechanic division that works on our armored fleet. So, you know, if you're a mechanic or you know, an engineer, the IT guys, science, photography, we have a little bit of everything. It takes a lot of people to make this agency run. 45 field offices and over 161 offices around the world. So, you know, everything from accounting and bookkeeping and records, lawyers, we have a little bit of everything. So
That's
that's
a lot of opportunities for
Yeah.
So many different careers.
Yeah.
Hey, hopefully one day we can visit. I don't know if we could, but visit the office.
You'll be
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
It's the amazing
Hey, we even
experience.
have a map room.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
So we can
nice.
roll,
maybe
you know?
we get a maybe a group together. We can
Yeah.
practice
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
sure.
do
Yeah.
like a
That would be
tour
amazing.
if possible. I don't know if
Yeah.
that would be amazing
we
for
could
us.
definitely talk offline and get something set up.
It'll be
Yeah.
very cool. What's the star, like
It-
the symbol means? Like
Well, this one is actually the original Secret Service badge. So we have a couple of various versions that the star has changed over the years from 1865 to the present. So it's just kind of representative of the agency as a whole. And there's, we have the core values of the Secret Service, the 5 points of the star are duty, loyalty, justice, honesty, and courage.
Nice.
And those are the things, the ideals of the service that we want to portray in our investigations, our protection, our daily lives, how we live as an agency, how we represent ourselves to the public, and how we as individuals conduct our interaction with the public or with a protectee or with each other. We want to hold ourselves to the highest ideals. We want to present our agency with the highest ideals, and we want that to be what the public sees in us. We want them to see us and respect us for the historic agency that we are. Dating back to 1865, we have a storied history and career. We have a lot of incredible successes that most people in the public don't see or hear about. A lot of things that go unrecognized or unreported. But we continue on with our mission, trying to always put that best face forward to the public.
And I think that our core values actually align really closely with jujitsu in general, just because if you look at that, it's duty, loyalty, honesty, courage. And I know you guys preach that, especially with your athletes. And so for us, like, that's another reason why we're tapping into you guys, is that we see a lot of that in jujitsu practitioners. You're representing something bigger than yourself.
Yep.
And so for us to be able to find applicants that already have that instilled in them, and what you guys are doing is pretty incredible.
Oh. And how you guys get connect with yours too? That's a good question. Like how you see like a competition or that how?
Yeah, so I grew up in a wrestling family. My brother wrestled at Stanford and now practices jujitsu. And then he got me into it when I was younger. And we realized through, well, I think we brainstormed a lot about different groups that would be good to target. And for us, we talked a lot about that grit and determination that comes from grappling sports and different hand-to-hand combat sports. And jiu-jitsu is perfect. One, you guys are growing rapidly and exponentially, but you have a huge base of military veterans, law enforcement. Kids are starting at a much younger age now, so they're learning these values before they even mature, which again is great for us. But we brainstormed it, and then I looked up, obviously I'm familiar with Smooth Comp, and I saw that you guys had a lot in our DMV area, and then I just reached out and I was like, hey,
Nice.
let's do something.
Let's do it.
So
That's cool.
yeah.
That's awesome. And really, so our organization, we like you talk about, right, to keep the principles, values, and professionalism. We want jiu-jitsu to grow in a professional way. So many more people can have way more opportunity that we have nowadays. Like we want to grow in a professional way, so we can be solid for many generations. So if sometimes we talk about this internally, like sometimes we see unorganized groups that can hurt more the community than help. It can be exciting, can be fun, but can be very dangerous, can be in a very unprofessional way, bad looking. Like we have uniform rules, we have rules that care about safety through the competition, and they're also fair. So this way we believe jiu-jitsu can go. We're in a fast-paced growing martial art, and we want to be part of something that can grow more professional. That's part of our name, Professional Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation. So, and it stays aligned with people that want. I think it touches your market because are people that are able to follow rules, follow directions, understand that we're professional. So because we when we started, there's a lot of, oh, you're too professional. No, I want to wear whatever I want. I want to do this. No, this is how we do it. and we
We-
believe that's a
We take like a year maybe to educate a couple.
educate a lot of people, because some other organization are more like do whatever you want the way you want, and I think if we grow in that way, I think we'll be too wild, you know. Like we wanna be part. We have been doing jiu-jitsu for over 20 years, and we have a team behind us too, but I think it's part of you. I think you want to keep a part of traditions of Secret Service. You know, I think we're having the rules and how you behave. You know, at least at work, and you know, you're in your professional field. So it's the same way we try to care in our organization. You know, the way we run the events, a professional way to grow jiu-jitsu, to benefit the community. You know, hopefully many years from now. Hopefully when we're not here, PBJJF is
It's
still
still
going. You know,
Hope they schools too.
and our schools, you know,
Yeah.
that's the idea, and I think it really aligned with what you're looking for. You know.
Yeah, 100%. You're instilling that, you know, that hierarchy and that rule structure, that chain of command in your students, and an appreciation for the history and the methodology behind it. Similarly, you know, we're looking for the same. We want the best people that we can find, people who want to seek and achieve excellence, but there is a structure. You know, it has to be done this way, and it's done this way for a reason. You know, you can be the best shooter, or the best athlete, or the best, you know, the smartest guy in the room, but if you can't follow direction, can't follow rules, or you're unwilling to, you know, abide by certain governing policies and laws, you know, it creates havoc, and it's, you know, it's troublesome. So we definitely seek that that willingness to learn and understand and appreciate that there's a methodology and a purpose behind it all.
And being willing to take the time, right? So being willing to train and get yourself to a physical, mental standard that's going to align, one, with jiu-jitsu, but also for the Secret Service, right? Our training cycle is not easy, and we thankfully have amazing instructors that help our students and applicants, since what is it, special agent trainees,
Right.
it's been a while, get through our programs. But it's not instant gratification, right? You have to put the work and the time and that dedication into becoming an agent, just like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
How long it take the course, the training part?
So to get through the process, they had shortened it down to, it was averaging about 9 months. I think now they've got a target point of 3 to 6 months to get someone from application to, you know, their baseline approval, and some of that is going to be dependent on, you know, we do a complete thorough background. So if you're from the DMV, lived your entire life in the DMV, all your family's in the DMV, then it's going to be much faster because your life is here, and we can easily access that information. But, you know, some of our military guys or people who came in to go to college from other states, if you grew up in Florida but your mom's in you know, California, and your brother's in Washington, and your life is all over the globe, it takes a little bit longer.
Oh my God! I get there. It takes like a year. my
Mine
family is all over.
But to give or take with our training process itself, there's a couple different phases of it. So from today you're hired to graduation day, it's about 6 months. There's a little bit of
I gotta put the work on.
yeah, there's a little bit of flex in there because there's a midpoint training for our forensics academy in Alabama that they try and add in. Sometimes that's not always possible, but give or take it, we call it about 6 months.
Probably we jump one thing. How they can apply. Probably maybe
if you go back to the tournament, right? Let's think about the tournament scene this weekend.
Yeah.
They're coming. They're at the tournament. How they approach to you? Like, what are the steps? Would you like to see from potential
new agent
agents or?
So what they can do is we'll have a table there, and we'll have QR codes, and I'll give you guys more of these at the end. But if you flip that over, you'll see a QR code. So basically just come up, introduce yourself, tell us what you're kind of interested in, whether, and we'll explain it as well. We're there for as a resource to your athletes to explain the difference between special agent, uniform division, some of our other routes that they can go in the Secret Service. And then they just scan the QR code, which we'll also send to you guys, and then fill out a brief like bio data sheet, give us their name, email address, and then again, what they're interested in. Then from there, we start at that direct communication with them.
Nice.
So we'll email them usually within the week, hopefully sooner than that. We're trying to be a little bit faster at getting back to prospective applicants. We have a good conversation with them, and then we can send them the link for the actual application. Then they'll apply online, and throughout this entire time frame, they have access to our squad. So at the Washington field office, we have an amazing recruiting squad. There's 4 agents in it right now, and all of us have access to that email. So you're always going to get someone replying to it. We'll help step by step through that process. They fill out on usajobs.gov an application, and they have a federal resume. Again, we can help kind of give them some ideas of how to like produce a federal resume. It's a little bit different than your average application resume. It's a little bit longer, but if you Google federal resume, there's a ton of different examples of them.
ChatGPT might help.
You said what?
ChatGPT.
AI, right? I wish I had that growing up.
I wish it.
Right? And then from there, they apply online, and then the application process really starts once their application is reviewed. It's then accepted by headquarters, and from there, what's going to happen is they're going to be assigned a test date. The first process of our application is the SAEE. If you're going special agent, that's a special agent entrance exam, or it's the uniform division UDAE, Uniform Division Applicant Exam. And they'll take that online at it's a Pearson testing center. So they'll take that. Once they pass that, then you go through the APAT, which is the Applicant Physical Abilities Test. It's a 1.5 mile run, sit-ups, push-ups, an agility test. We don't do pull-ups until training. Once you pass that, it's a kind of a long process.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you pass that, you go into your first interview where you're sitting across from agents or an agent and an admin officer. That's called our super interview. That's your basic kind of application interview. We're getting to know you as an applicant, whether or not you're suited for the job. And then if you pass that, we go into our security interview phases. So that's where we're really starting the background investigation. We're doing the security interview. We're making sure nothing in your background would disqualify you from a top secret clearance. So something special about the Secret Service is every agent comes out with a top secret clearance given to you by the federal government. And so we do your whole background. We talk to people from wherever you're from. I played soccer overseas, so my background investigation took a little bit longer. They had to track people down in Sweden, Spain, and London. So that was fun. And then once you pass that, simultaneously, you're going to take a polygraph exam. That polygraph exam, again, questions you've most likely already heard, and we're just making sure that you're on, like, you're trustworthy and you have that honor that we're looking for. If you pass that, we do a home interview where 2 agents show up. We talk to your family. We make sure that, again, everyone understands what's going to go into this career field. So we travel a lot. There's a lot of things that come up in this job that are very, very unique to the Secret Service that you're not going to see in other law enforcement agencies. So we really are there to brief the family and make sure they understand what their loved one is taking on. And then from there, we do a medical exam. It can also happen around the same time, a medical exam wherever you are in the country through a federal like medical exam. It's a medical office, someone who has a contract with us. And then from there, if you pass all of those, you are then offered a training date and position with the Secret Service. And then it's usually within about, I know mine was 2 weeks. I got the job offer, and then 2 weeks later they said you're going to training. So it was a pretty quick turnaround.
Pretty quick, yeah.
Yeah.
For all this process is fast in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and then the whole process itself, I think we already mentioned this, takes anywhere between like 3 to 6 months. On average, we're looking 4 to 5 months right now, just because, again, we're in a hiring phase. We're really looking for qualified applicants. So it's a long application process, but it starts just by coming to us at the table at, you know, the event on Sunday.
And if you train jiu-jitsu, 6 months is nothing.
It's nothing.
It takes 10 years to be a black belt.
You maybe
should be patient enough
you
to-
maybe will be 2 stripes white belt. Maybe.
Yeah.
You know, like 6 months in jiu-jitsu is nothing. You
It's
know,
just
like,
the beginning.
if you're a blue belt already, you should be patient enough to wait
These
6
6 months.
easy.
Yeah.
You know?
How many days a week do most of your guys go?
My
Average
around
three
three, yeah.
times a week.
Okay.
Because different groups, of course, right? So we have 30 years old, maybe with a kid, a wife, a lot of job, you know, like a lot of what is the word? A lot of
Obligations.
obligations.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
A lot of obligations, and you know, I think feeding that 3 times,
Right.
that's average, I believe. We ended up training every day, basically. Just
2,
last
3
on
times a
Sunday.
day.
Yeah, 3 times we may working out. You know, we're in different
I
phase.
I still have students like this go to the gym
Yeah.
like 2, 3 times a day, like trying to be professional. But age groups was different now.
Yeah.
Most these like a kids or like below 21 years old.
You see
But
more-
it's not my main group. You know what I mean? That's like always like a small group trying to be a professional fighter. And most then, you know, for like better life, be healthy, self defense, and then these groups show up like around 3 times a week.
That I
Yeah.
believe that's the
Average.
average, maybe nationwide. And we see the groups, you know, like we believe, we talk about this, the market, you know, like we believe 25 to 45 years old is basically supporting the whole industry, because 25 you leave college, now you have enough to support yourself, pay tuition, right? And maybe if you have a kid, you're not training jiu-jitsu, but you're supporting your kid to train, so you're still supporting
Right.
jiu-jitsu. We believe that 25 to 45 is a very solid age for us that kind of holds the industry. That's probably the age.
And you see a lot of familial contact. You know, the dad or the mom does it. They get their kids in it.
Yes,
and their
a
kids
lot.
eventually,
Both
and it passes
ways.
down.
Yeah.
Kids come, bring the parents. Parents come, they're like,
Bring
my
the kid.
kid needs to train
Yeah.
this, you
Yeah.
know, like it's both ways. And most of the schools, I cannot speak for all, but at least most of the schools that I know are very family oriented, you know, like very, I don't know if that's the word, very
Family
friendly, you know, like
Family friendly.
I think maybe that's the word. Friendly environment. You know, it's not the old mentality. A bunch of meathead guys just
Back in the
throw
days
each
like
other
this. Back in the
around,
days like this.
But
yeah.
jiu-jitsu is very mental. You have to be smart to do jiu-jitsu. If you're smarter, you excel, because you're basically using your body as a mechanism to control another person. You know, like it's a human chess game. You get someone to act in one way so you can get this result. So you can move to that. There's a lot of leverage, a lot of physics, and biomechanic that is involved. Sometimes we don't know about deep into it, but there's a lot of that involved. So you think it's more mental than physical.
When the
get-
students who understand that, it's way easier to teach that. Because in the beginning they think you're physical, like,
physical.
hey, hold on, thinking a little bit, just a little bit, they're gonna help you more.
It's basically, what's the easiest way for me to hold that person, to control this person? What is the easiest way? What is the least amount of effort I need to put into? Because sometimes you have to fight for 5 minutes. If you put all your energy,
Right.
you're done.
Or 10.
You know, like most people, they're done by 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You know, so you get
Yeah,
to
a minute can be a long time in a full-on fight. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
maybe like you like, your scenario is like a different scenario, right? Of course, but I think be able to maybe handle even someone attack you randomly, maybe able to hold a choke. Maybe I can hold a choke for 20 seconds. 20 seconds can give me so much time to defend myself before I pass out, which maybe a regular person might pass out with 5 seconds. So just by being able to physically defend a choke for 20 seconds can give me way more time to save my life, you know,
Yeah.
for being attacked or something. That's extremely important. to be able to have enough time to defend yourself. You know, later the fight gets, easier becomes for us.
Right.
It's kind of crazy, right? Like if you hold, maybe you tend to hold a person, they wasting energy in a position, you let them waste energy, they gas out, and their brain won't function properly, so they're gonna make a lot of mistakes, and they're tired, their body won't move as well, and it's just gonna be a easier way to hold that person. You know, like it's about controlling, not attacking jiu-jitsu. You know.
I think two things that you said about jiu-jitsu as a philosophy, I guess, relates to what we do as well. You know, you said family organization and basically a thinking person's game, and obviously the Secret Service is a family. You know, we like to think of ourselves as a family unit, and the longer you work with someone, and the trials that you go through, the details, the travel, the hours that you spend, you build a bond with the people in the agency, and you know, you'll see these people, even though your careers may take paths, and you may go to different offices, different states. You know, there's always going to be the UN or something where people will meet and connect. Oh, I haven't seen you in a year or 2 years, 10 years. How are you? And there's always that contact and comfort and reliability. And the fact that, like you said, a thinking person's game, there's a lot of processing and planning and logistics that goes into the mission, whether it's the protection aspect or the investigative part of the Secret Service. And having people that understand that it's not just brute force and brute strength, or this part of their personality or their resume is not the one thing that's going to sell them. They need to be well-rounded. And, you know, if they do apply, if they do get into the resume process, to present all their talents and abilities, you know, make themselves really stand out and show what they can do, and be willing to grow and adapt, I think is beneficial for anybody considering an application with the service.
About the service, you guys always are full time, because like I have couple students, they doing like other gents like natural guard, arms, or whatever. They do like other jobs. And I don't understand how it works, but I know they go on the base like for like couple times a year, or like every other month, whatever, and kind of like a part time on a base. You guys have like this process too, or everyone who will apply for like a full time job?
Yeah, so it's a full-time position. It's not a joke. We are 24 hours, 7 days a week, right? Yeah. So we always have our work phones on us, constantly taking calls, possibly getting on a car plane the next day. But we do actually, you're talking, I think, about military reservist programs. We actually do allow military reservists. So if they are in the military right now, in the reserves, or if they're active duty and transitioning to the reserves, they can still do that and be a part of the Secret Service. So we allow military leave. My husband's a former Marine. He's also on the job. He's in our Special Operations Division. So obviously married to another agent, welcoming another agent. But, you know, so he comes from that background as well. And most of our friends who were former Marines, you know, Air Force, Navy, Army, are still in, and they're still doing their MOS, and they're still able to, you know, go on the weekends and drill with their platoon or whoever it is, and then come back and be a Secret Service agent during the week. Yeah,
that's cool. And I think at least in DMV, you're gonna see so many at the tournament. You're gonna see so many.
We have a friend in Virginia, the owners from Enlisted 9. No, Enlisted 9.
Enlisted 9.
Yeah,
Army. He was Army.
The both owners was like army guys. That's cool. They have a lot of.
I think they're at Belvoir.
Yeah, they have like a lot of military guys. It's cool. Like you.
So many. And thank you for all your service. Thank you for keeping us safe. Yep. We really appreciate it. And you know, I think it's what your agents does, police officer do, like it's extremely important for people needs to understand that and appreciate what you do, because your life is in risk 24/7 as well, like it's a lot of stress, a lot of, we talk to people, it's a lot on you as well as a human, to be able to handle all, to keep us safe. So thank you so much for your service. We really appreciate that. And we believe more people need to appreciate that more, because nowadays with social media, it's so easy to just blame. Like we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
Like mistakes can happen in any organization, but and sometimes you want to blame the whole organization because small is, or a mistake that one person did, and you want to compromise the whole organization for that. I think
Absolutely.
our society needs to be more aware of that.
Yeah.
I'll talk to people when people, we see in the media, people talk social media, and like, who's the first, if something bad happens to you, who's the first person you're gonna call? You're gonna call the police. Just let you know who you're gonna call, like, and maybe you're threatening or saying things that doesn't really match with what the reality is, because I think nowadays social media people talk more, I think, than they should, I guess,
Yeah.
or in a different way that they should, more very inappropriate is respect in many points. But it's open, right? It's a free country. I think everybody has their own rights to say what they believe. But my personal, you should appreciate more the military, Secret Service, police officers, first responder. That's you keep us going. Without you, we won't function properly.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. And it is a dedication and a commitment. And you're right. Sometimes someone gets caught out of their normal attitude or position. They have a bad day, and they're judged on 10 seconds or one word or one comment or one action compared to months, years, decades of service. And that's unfortunate. We try to be the best we can every day and bring the best that we can to the table every day. And we agree. We're very much engaged with our law enforcement partners, our military partners, first responders, and we want to recognize them. We have a partnership mentality with the protective events that we do. We can't go to a lot of the places that we go without the local police department, the local sheriff's office, the local fire, EMS system. They support us and help us complete our mission, and we're very appreciative of that. And we're always open to assist those agencies. There's other other investigative capacities that the Secret Service has that we offer to law enforcement agencies around the country and around the world. Again, one of those things that most people don't know about or don't hear about it. But we always want to engage with our law enforcement partners and show the due respect and appreciation for their service and what they do for us as individuals, as citizens, as a country, and as a whole for all of their sacrifice and all of their time.
And I think you guys said something that kind of is a little bit different wavelength here, but you mentioned social media and people making mistakes on posting things on social media. And that's something that I think is a great lesson for your younger athletes, especially if they strive to be first responders, law enforcement, military, Secret Service, is you have to be really aware of what you're posting online, right? That's something that we do look at as we go through the application process. Everyone makes mistakes, but if you're posting, provocative, inappropriate, or anything like that on social media, chances are whatever agency you're applying for is going to find it, and then that's going to be an issue coming up in your application process. So just thinking about your younger athletes, think about that before you post it and say, hey, what do I want to do with my life? If I want to be Secret Service, if I want to be military, maybe I should kind of censor what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's true. And you talk to that point. So digital crimes are crimes,
It's a
right?
crime. Yeah.
So you can still maybe you can still committing a crime by I don't know, taxing some or
Or typing or
posting something
posting.
that
Yeah.
can be a crime. I don't know what the rules are, the laws, all the laws. I try to just be nice and say positive things on it, but mostly try to promote the schools and the
And the
tournament, you know.
tournament, yeah.
But so
I'm
it's
more
not a
posting
free. Hey,
than him. Sometimes I post things like with nobody ask, man. I'm all right. I think like on that way, guys, and I post that. And I get some haters, like JP more friendly. I get some haters.
No, but it's you have to be careful with
Oh, yeah.
what you how you behave virtually as well, right? I think it's something that you talk about like before there are opportunities for like you said criminal digital crimes and stuff like that. So be careful what you're posting, how you see yourself 10 5 5 4 10 years
Yeah.
5 10 years from now, right? We try to get the mentality who you want to be in five. I always ask myself and ask people around, hey, who you want to be 5 years from now? How do you see yourself 5 years from now? Because the way you see yourself tends to be the way you create your path to that, you know.
First time he asked me that, I'm like, I don't know.
I think
Maybe next month. I know. Let's start from the next month.
having like a short term, you know, goals and visions help align us to how we behave daily. You know, I think that's extremely important.
It's true. Just like you talked about when they come in and you said 10 years to get the black belt. So you've got a goal, or they have a goal, they want to achieve that, and you're mentoring them and guiding them through the process. Like Kate said, when we get these people and we're advising them, you know, watch what you post, watch what you do, watch the decisions that you make. Just because you're 21 doesn't mean you should go out and get hammered just because you can drink. You know, think about the consequences, how it's going to affect you long term. If you have a goal towards law enforcement or military or first responder, the company you keep, the thing, you know, a lot of jurisdictions have gone to more relaxed drug policies, but just because it's legal in this state, county, city, wherever you are, doesn't necessarily mean that it'll be accepted by the federal government.
And you're federal.
Right.
Yes.
So, and our drug policy is posted online on our website, and we're happy to discuss that with any applicants that come along, and we can, you know, say, okay, what have you done? This is our guideline. You meet it, you don't meet it, or you need to wait this period, whatever. But, you know, that's part of the personal service that Kate mentioned that we try and bring to the table. When we get people who are 20, 21, 22 years of age and they're in college and they're, hey, I want to be a Secret Service agent. I want to do this, that. And we tell them the same thing. You know, well, think about what you're doing. Think about the decisions that you make, how it's going to impact you and your friends. Think, you know, what are your friends doing? How's that going to impact you? If you have a goal, you know, have a clear focus and a vision. Let us mentor you through the initial process and get you into place, just like you're mentoring your students, your practitioners. You're going to get them to black belt. Well, we're going to try and get them into agent status, but, you know, focus, make solid decisions, good decisions.
That's great. And you have the ability to guide them in a easier path and faster path than you went through, right?
Oh yeah. Mine was really long.
Because like you probably made mistakes that maybe you should avoid, or you know that maybe not really gonna help you. Maybe you went through some harder ways that you shouldn't even need to do that. You know, like, hey, maybe go here, maybe go there.
Yeah, exactly. I've said before, learn from the mistakes that I've made. You don't need to do the same dumb things that we may have done. We can tell you that's not a good thing, so go this way.
You're gonna
exactly
get there
like
faster
on the
with
match
less
too.
damage, right, on your body and mental.
Exactly.
On the match, we act like in the same way. Tell my students, like, please go here.
Yeah.
Like, do it that way. You don't need to do this.
Right.
If you put your hand there, you're gonna get caught in a triangle, whatever. Like, that's a lot of mistakes over the 20 years we made. They don't need to make.
And unfortunately, sometimes you need to allow them to make some mistakes
Oh, yeah, that's
themselves,
true.
right, to learn.
Right.
But like Max saying, right, like, and we at least as we call professor in jiu-jitsu professor when you're black belt, we try to guide a group, but we try to individualize. Maybe I know this person is like this height. I know for his body type, those techniques might be more effective. Maybe those are the techniques he can maybe learn now to get a good foundation. Then he might be able to go on his own by the time, because sometimes you come to jiu-jitsu and you get so overwhelmed because you want to go to YouTube, you want to go to social media, watch this video, and now you want to try a technique that you don't even know the foundation of that, but you want to try something because it looks cool, you know. So guiding
It happens all
people,
the time.
it happens a lot because people get very excited. So the advice for jiu-jitsu, we come in, find a good school, research for the school, find a good professor, find
Show
a good
up.
people, show up and listen to your mentor. Like your professor is usually doing mentorship, you know, like guiding you through your journey. So in a way where maybe you can start to go more on your own with time. By a purple belt, you can start to find your own path. You know, he just maybe sharp you here and there, but you're able to visualize a path yourself. You know, I don't know how that works for you. So you come in and then you have mentorship, I believe, right? And people like there's a process, and then you start to be able to figure out your way, your style, what direction want to go. Is that how it would work as well?
I
Similar?
would say, at least in my experience, obviously I'm a younger generation of agent. So I came in, about 4 years ago, and I started in the Miami field office, and I had incredible mentorship there. And really, on the investigative side, you're going to be doing protection, and it's a pretty standard path with protection. But on the investigative side, I was really given great mentorship from my assistant special agent in charge, and the assistant to the special agent in charge. There's a lot of acronyms, so ASAC, ATSAC, and they kind of allowed me to, first they guided me onto what type of crime I was more interested in investigating, and they said, here's kind of the paths you can go, and then they let me specialize from there. And it was really a wonderful experience. It helped me grow a lot because, again, they're guiding me, but at the end of the day,
You gotta pick
I
it.
had to pick it, right? And that's what we're kind of trying to do on a micro scale at the Washington field office with our recruiting department. Is from the moment you walk up to our table, we're going to try and guide you as to what best career in the Secret Service fits you, right? Is it going to be uniform division and then special agent in the future, or is it special agent right from the start, or is it one of our administrative, professional, or technical positions? We're going to really help guide you there and then put you in the process of the application. And then once you are hopefully accepted into the Secret Service, you now have 4, 5, 6 agents who know who you are, who are going to follow you through training and really kind of keep tabs on you and make sure that you're doing, one, what you should be doing, and two,
For sure.
that you're going to get through. And then once you get to your local field offices, a lot of our field offices are now instituting an actual formalized mentorship program where you are assigned to a more senior phase 1 agent, and they're going to go on your first protective assignment with you. They're going to be walking you through a lot of these things. I know Washington field office instituted one, Miami field office, Newark field office. Those are the 3 I've been in. I kind of did some puddle jumps here and there in my career. But, we're really trying to create that mentorship program. Our special operations team does it. My husband has a mentor. It's so important to have that throughout your career.
That's great.
But sometimes you need to let they fail know. And like, oh, we're still here. You want to go on that way? I told you to go this way. We want to go ahead and come back if you failed. On jiu-jitsu,
Are you capable of like allowing them like to, because you can really fail right at these positions?
Yeah.
How throughout the trainings that might be the
I'd
time.
say to a certain extent, yeah. I mean, kind of like Kate's saying, it's like different holds and different locks and submissions. You give them all this information, all these tools in their tool belt. We like to use that expression. You teach them all these tools that are available to them, and then in their investigative function or the protective mission, they have all these resources that we've supplied them with, and then they have that for their use. At the end of the day, we're looking for, completion of a mission. There are certain parameters. There are some things that have to be done ABC 1, 2, 3. It has to be done exactly this way for legal reasons or physical protective reasons or policies. They have to be that way. But using the example of investigations, there's more than one way to get around to the same result. The interview process, the resource process, the review process, and sometimes you kind of know that that's not going to be the most fruitful, effective path, but someone's got to learn that, oh, okay, well, this didn't get the results I wanted, or this was not time effective or cost effective, and then they learn that lesson firsthand. But the mentors, the supervisors, the senior agents, the lead agents, whoever is assisting or watching over that, we're not going to let someone fall off the cliff and jeopardize themselves, through physical harm or legal jeopardy.
Yeah, what I try to, but maybe I don't break this down easily. I say like he can pick the specializer, but you see he can fit better on this position, but he wanna be here on the other position. That don't mean he gonna fail or do something wrong. That's what I try to say, But he go over here and like past 1 year, he like, man, maybe my mentor's right. I'm fit better on that way, and then he can come back and change for another position, or when he speak, he go be stick with that forever.
Yeah, they're not going to be stuck in it. So what we see a lot with our applicants right now, especially if they maybe don't have the education background, or we do have a STAR program where you can come right out of college and be a special agent. But what we're seeing is, maybe they don't have the education background or the work experience to be hired on as an agent, or they want the uniform division. They want to be able to, wear a police uniform, act in that role. So they start out uniform division, and, I think it's about 3 to 4 years on average. They can then apply to the special agent position and then transition. Or I haven't seen it done very often, but you could always be a special agent and apply uniform division and then go uniform division. We have an investigative analyst, she's amazing, who was an agent for a different agency, and then came back as an investigative analyst, so no longer a gun carrying position. But there are those lateral movements within our organization. You do have to go through the application process, but you're already an internal employee, and it's easier then to kind of change from there. So
makes sense.
Yeah, I know a lot of people initially will apply to uniform division and special agent, and they're like, I'm just gonna go with whatever I get first. And then in reality, one of the other positions probably would have fit them better. They usually learn that on their own after.
And then
yeah, and then they transition.
And then they list them more, right?
Yeah.
And I think kind of also to what you're saying is like our specialty programs. Yeah. So someone may think they want to go to the CAT program or hammer or rescue swimmer, whatever it is, and you may think or feel that maybe they're not completely ready for that, but there's a tryout process, there's a learning process, there's a training process, and sometimes through a couple weeks of grueling hard knocks, they realize, oh, I'm not physically prepared for this, or my shooting is not up to par, or whatever it is for my schooling, the medical portion, I wasn't prepared for that. So sometimes that preliminary failure, if you will, in that agent makes them more determined, more prepared, and they kind of reignites their passion. Like, I really want to do this, so I'm going to get harder, faster, stronger, better, whatever it is, and lets them get a little life lesson in there as well.
Yeah. And our special operations teams, usually it's 2 years and how many months until you can go through selection? I don't know the exact.
It's changed, so I couldn't. I'm
yeah,
not sure.
So it's a little bit after 2 years of being a special agent, you can then basically put your name in to go to a selection process. So for the agents, we have the counter assault team, also known as CAT, and then we also have HAMMER, which is the Hazardous Agent Mitigation Medical Emergency Response team.
Oh my God.
Both of them are really cool missions. Our counter assault team, they provide tactical support primarily to the president, and they're the ones that we use in a lot of our
daily base.
Yes.
Yes, so that you are assigned to the counter assault team. You have to go through selection and then their basic training program. It's incredibly selective, but they're the ones that wear the NVGs or in all black, have the rifles. They're the ones that look really cool.
Nice.
But their mission is also really, really cool. And then also for HAMMER, They're the ones that are basically responding to any CBRN, so any chemical attack that happens to the president or vice president in certain arenas. And they're also trained as EMTs. We provide that training through the Secret Service for them. And again, you're assigned to that full time. They're both special operations for special agents. Also, our uniform division can do hammer as well. But our uniform division has even more specialty teams. They have, I'm going to have to read some of them because I can't remember all of them, but we have our ERT, which is basically, I would say, kind of like a SWAT team for the White House. Yeah, so they're on the grounds of the White House. And then we also have our counter sniper team. And then we have our Canine Explosives division and Canine Explosive Detection Unit. Mouthful. But the Secret Service has our own canine EOD dogs, and they're assigned to their dog. They go through the training with their dog. They travel with protectees on our car planes. It's also a very fascinating role that they can go into. And then we have the rifle team.
Yep.
And then let me see if I'm missing any others. And then SRU, our specialized rifle unit. Yep. So there's a lot of these really, really wonderful programs.
And they have our bike unit as well. So we have a bike unit, a motorcycle unit, but
Yep.
Uniform division, and we mentioned before the rescue swimmer program. So anywhere that we go that has water attached to it, we're going to have our rescue swimmers there, and they train with the Coast Guard and some other military units. So again, very, very involved, very specific training, rigorous training on all of it.
That's crazy.
So I have okay,
Yeah,
I have
it's a lot.
actually
It's a
I
lot,
have
yeah.
a student. He might be a good fit. I'm gonna have to tell him. He's a strong, young, finishing college. I think chemistry,
Yeah.
Awesome.
but I think he's applying for Coast Guard.
Interestingly enough, a lot of people don't understand the breakdown of the delineation of the separate federal agencies or the specific missions. And I think one of the movies that kind of was a breakthrough for us was In the Line of Fire with Clint Eastwood. That was the first movie that the Secret Service had actually lent any comment or opinion on, and kind of gave them some guidance. And there's been some movies that get some parts of it really right, and you look at it and go, oh yeah, okay, that's true, that's good there. And there's some that, like public opinion on something is like, no, that's impossible, that doesn't happen. But
Can you tell us one we should watch, if anybody should watch? If you can, I don't know if you recommend or anything like
some
that.
of them obviously are just funny and kind of poke fun and clown at us, so we wouldn't recommend those. But even though it's a little dated now, I still think In the Line of Fire really, there's a couple things that obviously they took some creative license with that are more for the movie aspect of it than realistic. But there were some really solid parts in there that really accurately portrayed agent life and what a protective mission kind of looks like.
What about these special soldiers? Like, they jump, flying, kicking.
We're just talking about the movie.
That's special branch.
Yeah.
They swim, you ride a bike, they do everything.
The closest thing we get to that is our special operations division teams, the ones that we just talked about. But yeah, In the Line of Fire, I think, even again as a younger generation, is definitely a movie that resonates well. Obviously, artistic license on a lot of the things in there, but it's probably the most accurate that is out there.
And it covers a number of different aspects. Obviously, he's a counterfeit agent, and he's working counterfeit buy bust and undercover capacity, which is something that many of us have done, have worked counterfeit or cards when they were active, and now into the digital sphere. But an agent in a criminal squad in an office somewhere in middle America today, next week might be working on a protective assignment somewhere to supplement the Presidential Protective Division or the Vice Presidential Protective Division. So you're going to do both parts of that in your phase one portion of your career. And then it had, aspects of what it's like on the president's detail, or it had the protective intelligence aspect of when they're seeking the, this guy who wants to assassinate POTUS in that movie. So those are three main functions that you'll see represented represented a lot in our agency, both the investigative aspect, the protective detail specifically, and the protective intelligence portion of collecting, investigating, and trying to understand what these, there's a lot of online threats now with, like you mentioned, with the internet and the posting and so forth. There's a lot of keyboard warriors out there that say random things, and maybe they mean it, maybe they don't, but until we look at it, we don't know if poster 123 really wants to kill the president, or if he just wants to look cool to his friends. So all of that stuff gets attention.
And I guess that kind of lends us to talking a little bit about the career progression of the Secret Service, is kind of what your career looks like with us. So we have 3 phases to your career with the Secret Service, and I'm currently at the end of my phase 1. That is, you are starting in a local field office. We mentioned how many we have across the country, across the world, really. You're going to start 3 to 6 years in one of those local field offices. So again, I started in Miami. I did a couple jumps to local field offices. Typically, you're just at 1. So whether that's one of the big offices like the New York field office, Miami, Washington field office, where we both are, LA, Houston, all over the place, you're starting there for 3 to 6 years, and you're doing both missions. So you're doing investigations and protection. After those 3 to 6 years are up, you can either go to one of our special operations division units, or you're going to be assigned to the president's detail, vice president's detail. We also have some auxiliary units like the protective intelligence division, which then assist our major details. They're in their own right an incredible division. We have a counter surveillance division, and then we also have former president's details. So we still provide protection to former presidents and their spouses. And that's, again, all over the country, right? We have the William Clinton division in New York. We have the Donald Trump division out of West Palm Beach. We have George Bush's detail out of Dallas. I think it's I think it's Dallas is like the main field office around that area. Dallas, Texas. And then
Carter.
We also have Carter in Georgia. So you can choose one of those to go to. You put in your preferences, and then they select which one. That's about 6 to 8 years. Oh, and then Obama's detail as well, and that is in Washington, D.C., or based out of it. And then that's, again, 6 to 8 years. That's phase 2 of your career. You're going to one of these kind of more specialized divisions. And then after those 6 to 8 years, you're going back to a local field office anywhere in the country or world, and you're going back to doing that dual mission of protection and investigation. So again, a lot of people don't realize like what the career progression for the Secret Service is, and that you're not just in Washington, D.C., right? You could be anywhere in the country. Again, we have resident offices in South America, in Europe, in Asia, all over the world. And I know quite
Brazil. Probably Brasilia.
Brasilia. I think it's Brasilia.
It's the capital, yeah.
And then I know we have one in Colombia. Peru had one. Mexico City. And then we have Rome, London. I mean, they're all.
Will eventually be working with the embassies or nothing related?
Well, our uniform division
overseas, I'm sorry,
for the foreign mission branch protects the local embassies in DC. But when we travel, we engage with the foreign missions. So we'll pay a visit to them and learn about in-country rules, laws, behaviors, and they give us guidance on what to do, what not to do, where to go, where not to go, that sort of thing. And they like we talked about partnerships with local law enforcement. The embassy and the staff at the embassies will partner with our advance agents and our overseas offices to help us formulate a secure plan for when the president or vice president comes over. So it becomes an integral part of the security plan, working with the embassies.
And people who watch us, they can apply from the QR code from anywhere in USA.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anywhere in the USA.
Any citizen can, with probably the they need some credentials, right?
For what part?
To apply. So
if other citizen, whatever. Like I'm a Brazilian, but I have the papers. No.
The U.S. Any American citizens over
citizenship.
18.
Well, depending on The
The
position,
position.
if it's one of the gun carrying positions, 20 for uniform division, 21 or older for agent position. But for some of our APT and TLE positions, if they don't want to be a gun carrier, but they've got a background in forensics, or they're an accountant or medical professional, something like that, then there are positions that do open up at 18 plus. So they can, our website, secretservice.gov, on the careers tab, has a lot of information on that, or they can call us directly or email us directly, and we're happy to go over that with them. But U.S. citizenship for all. If they have dual citizenship, we have had some dual citizens that applied. Eventually, they'll have to renounce the other
Yeah,
country's
that's
citizenship.
what I was asking.
Yeah, and have sole U.S. citizenship.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, that's exciting. I think what you're doing today, at least for us and maybe for the jiu-jitsu community, you're making this Secret Server more friendly,
Yeah.
approachable,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Approachable.
We like
approachable,
that. We like that.
approachable. Like
like that.
you would never, you wouldn't expect that. You know, I think you coming to the tournament, I think it's a great opportunity to bring great people
Yeah.
on board on your team, because I think maybe people feel that they might not be a good fit, or maybe they're not ready.
Yeah.
Maybe you can educate, like you're educating us today. You can
Oh,
educate
we learned a
them,
lot.
Yeah. Well, thank you for saying that. And that's true. And that's one of the things that we've talked about in our squad, is that there is a lot of, again, public perception and sometimes misconception of, oh, well, I can't do that because, I've never done this, or I don't know anything about it, or I don't live in DC, or I don't have this on my resume, or whatever it is. So we are trying to personalize it more, go to places that aren't traditionally looked at, or maybe overlooked in some circumstances. So we're happy to go anywhere, talk to anyone, answer any questions, and let people know that, I mean, we're just regular people too. Kate had a pretty exciting pre-service career. I was a police officer before I came on, and I spent a lot of years as a police officer, but I never would have thought about going to the Secret Service until a guy that had been in a neighboring agency that I was friends with, he got hired, and he called me and he said, "Hey, let me tell you about the Secret Service."
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
that personal referral oftentimes brings the best people on, because we tell our newer agents, you know what it takes to be an agent. You have an idea of who's going to succeed and who's going to best fit it. So the more that we find people that we recognize that can check all these boxes, or who have the likelihood to do that, and jiu-jitsu guys, like you said, they fit a lot of those bills and those goals. So we're happy to go and talk and dispel rumors and myths, and bring facts, and let people know, hey, you can do this. You got to be devoted. You got to have drive and determination. There's going to be some hard days. There's going to be some difficult times, but you can do it if you want
12
to do
hours
it.
on midnight, standing in
Yeah.
a stairwell.
Freezing cold.
Yeah, exactly. All weathers, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
We have to
yeah.
keep people safe. So, but I mean, we take such a diverse background.
Mhm.
I would never have thought that I was even eligible for the Secret Service, right? I'm a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
I was a professional athlete, and thought I was coming in as going to be the least fit, the least experienced, the youngest, right? All of those things were in the back of my head. Like, I will never get hired by the Secret Service. And then going through the process and having my eyes open to it, that's why I love recruiting so much, is because it's like, we have agents who were kindergarten teachers, but they had that drive and dedication and everything that we've talked to you guys about. And they're some of the best agents we have.
Yeah.
And we also have people who are from special operations, in the SOCOM community, in the military, or they were on the SWAT team at their local agency.
Yeah.
But we also, again, have teachers, we have doctors, we have lawyers who are agents,
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible, the backgrounds that we have coming in.
And who told you about that Secret Service?
So I come from a government family, and I grew up in Washington State, but I would come to DC on basically the summer vacation, and I would go to the White House, and I saw a female agent once when I was like 7 years old, and I walked up to her and I said, "I'm gonna be you one day." And then circle back when I was kind of ending my soccer career, I was like, what am I doing with my life? I didn't know, really. I was like, what can still emulate being an athlete and having that sense of, one team We have a common goal. I put a uniform on every day. I get to work out. I get to train. I get to also be intellectually stimulated. What's going to fit all of those roles for me?
No.
Yep. And my mom actually reminded me, and she was like, hey, remember back in the day when you really wanted to do that? I was like, man, you're right. So
That's awesome.
I did my own research, and I kind of found the application link online, applied on my own, and man, do I wish I had someone like me on the other end helping me through the process.
Oh.
So it kind of was self-guided, but again, I was like, there's no way I'm going to get hired, right? But again, it's by seeing agents in the real world that we get people to apply, right? That was me. I was like, man, that's so cool.
That's great. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And can we maybe we get the link as well. We'll post on our social media the story so people can go through the link and
We should post on the bio,
apply on the bio.
the video too.
We'll also post that. I think this is amazing. I think what you said is something that I think I live my life by. The power of the words we speak. You know, sometimes things that we said, a lot of my life is what what is happening now.
We talked about this before.
I said that before, you know, like we visualized that before, you know, the power of visualizing and seeing ahead and thinking positively, and the law of attraction. I don't know if a lot of things that I really think ended up happening, you know, and you said something, you thought about something when you're
Was it 7 years
7
old?
years old, you know, and
Yeah, manifesting.
maybe 20 years, 15, 20 years later,
Yeah.
ended up.
It came back full circle, right? And this has been probably one of the most rewarding things I've done in my, not super long life thus far. But I mean, I couldn't change what I've done,
Nice.
It's been incredible. We were traveling the world right out of training. I was in the Caribbean working.
I wanna work for the Secret Service. I want to apply.
Yeah, I mean, and you meet the best people. My best friends, obviously. My husband is on the job with me. We met in training.
Nice.
And you create these lifelong relationships, and the Secret Service has become so much more family friendly. I was able to, once I married my husband, I was able to move up to the Newark field office and, work not with him, but in the same office as him. So we're really doing a lot to kind of keep that family mentality.
That's
And again, it's like a brother sisterhood, right? You meet these people that you won't see for years, and then you're like, hey, remember that one time we were on a boat and it was storming and I thought I was gonna die, and then we bonded, and I see you 5 years later and you
Nice. This is so
We
cool.
have the same mindset in jiu-jitsu, like you create that bond. I think when you do something hard together, that really is meaningful. You do some things way beyond what we would do, but like we work hard, we beat each other up, and we sweat in each other's mouth. Sometimes it happens.
Yeah.
More you beat me, better. More you help me.
Yeah.
It's crazy. More you go hard, more you hurt, more you go. You give your best to win
Give me a hard
against
time.
me. It makes me better.
Yeah.
We need each other to become a better.
Wait, I
individuals.
tell jiu-jitsu is the individual sport with more community. Because if you don't have that community, you can't get wet. You can't get better. It's impossible. You train by yourself. It's
It's
impossible.
individual and team at the same
Yeah,
time.
at the same
It's the
time.
same thing for us, really. I mean, because we are given right out of training, we are given so much responsibility. You are, right out of training, you're advancing a site for the first lady, and that is, your arena. You have to make sure that nothing goes wrong. You're on your own, but you have the team that's telling you, hey, we've done this before. I'm going to help you. I'm going to train you. We do walkthroughs with supervisors to make sure we didn't miss anything. But on game day, when, the protectee shows up, it's on you to really perform. And so it's very similar to jiu-jitsu.
You just told she is almost done in the first phase. 4 years already. First phase.
One, I think is I don't know if it's an important question, but I think it would be a question. So let's think you and your husband are in the Secret Service, and he ended up being moved, right? are you able to move to the same? I think in the military, I see this happening, right? The spouse, the wife can go, the husband, where they
So,
tend to they pick and can both go, or
so we have something called the Married Special Agent Policy, which I actually benefited from with my most recent move to the Washington field office. So my husband obviously made it through the special operations, the CAT training program, the pipeline, and he was assigned to the Washington district. And because of that, I was able to move with him. If he does something more voluntary, like let's say I decide I'm going to go work for George Bush's detail in Dallas, Texas, and that's a decision I make myself, and the Secret Service isn't forcing me there, he's not going to be automatically given the ability to
I
move.
see.
But if it is a forced move, let's say one of the phases, I'm going to phase 3, I'm going to Atlanta, my husband will be able to be transferred with me. So again, we are trying to keep families together.
both ways?
Yes.
And like the Secret Service help you with this movement that is forced, like, or
Yeah, so that actually brings us to our perks. Like there's some pretty incredible ones. I just did a move, obviously to Washington D.C. on the Secret Service's dime. So we do relocation costs. We have relocation leave, so you get to go for 10 days and try and find a house wherever you're moving to. You're getting paid per diem while you're there, and then the Secret Service is going to pay for your movers. And then we also do something where the government can basically buy your house if you can't find someone to buy it within a certain time frame. So the government will then buy the house from you, so you're not out that money. We also cover closing costs on houses. So we just bought a house in Maryland, and the Secret Service covered my closing costs. So we do pay for that second move. Your first move, so when I was hired by the Secret Service and I was assigned to the Miami field office, I did pay for that myself. But you're kind of transient at that point anyway. You know that you're
You
gonna
don't have
to-
anything basic
exactly.
much.
But any move
but like after 4 years, 5 years in one place, gotta
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, and then the Secret Service will pay for
Yeah,
that.
cool.
So if
And
we-
for any other job, you would have to move anyways, right?
right, exactly. So it's like for us, I mean, it's one of the best programs we do have, and then you are forced to move at some point, right? You're not going to be able to stay in your first location your entire career. And so we assign something called a T number, and anytime the Secret Service moves you, you'll be assigned a T number and they'll pay for it, which is incredible.
nice. I like that.
Yeah,
That's
it's nice.
Takes a lot of stress off of you when you know you've got to wrap up your life here and start a life there, and
and you're probably
literally-
still working on
Yeah,
some
still working,
project.
and the movers literally show up with trucks and boxes, and they
They
come in,
pack
and you
everything.
just sit back, and they get to work, and they
Man,
wrap
that's
up
so
the
cool.
dishes and
Yeah.
the socks and the shoes and pack everything and get it.
I
to
don't think people know that, because you will have more they know about those benefits
Yeah.
and the way
Yeah.
it works.
I mean, it's
So many people will want to. It's a great career.
And I
you know?
really like that thing. Like, maybe I go move for somewhere as an appointment, but you don't know where we go, and like that. Like, I like this.
and we try, and one perk that listed on this is the travel itself, right? I mean, I can't even tell you how many countries I've been to since I've joined the Secret Service, but all over Europe, South America, the Caribbean, and again, you're going for work, but you're traveling on a U.S. Air Force car plane, so you can have a sleeping bag and you lay it out and you sleep.
No, my God.
And it's great. And then you get in country, and I was in Romania, Slovakia, Poland. You're getting to see things that
Different cultures.
Different culture, yeah.
and you're being briefed on what's going on in that country and kind of how to act, and you're just getting to see a side of a country that the average civilian or tourist isn't going to get to see. That's kind of a perk. That's an extra perk on top of perks. But
True.
we have some incredible things like our law enforcement availability pay. So up to 25% on top of the base GS salary scale, you get 25% on top of that. So it bumps up your salary quite a bit. And then we also have locality pay depending where you live. So like New York, Washington, D.C., Houston have very high locality pays. So it's
What is that? Sorry.
Yeah, so it's a certain percentage on top of your salary. So they'll take
Because of the area, it's more
Exactly.
Like he's expensive, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
D-
Washington,
DC,
Dennis.
kinda like-
So it's all government based. The government reviews it. GSA, I believe it is, looks at it and says it costs whatever, 27%
More
more
to
to
live
live
in
in
this place.
DC than it does in
Florida,
Columbia,
Yeah, yeah.
South Carolina, or something. And so they offset your salary.
Yeah.
Cool.
Based
Yeah.
on the area.
Right.
Yeah, so they're adding, anywhere from like 17 to 25%. That's just a ballpark. Don't hold me to that. But on top of your salary, which is again a huge benefit.
Yeah.
There's so many. I mean, we have low cost health insurance.
Great health insurance, probably, right?
Great
Yeah.
health insurance.
Excellent health insurance, life insurance.
Well,
dental
I just
insurance.
look for our health insurance and I was like,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, it's great, and it's different than the military. I obviously was a military spouse, so that was TRICARE, where you don't really get to pick your own providers, and it's a great system and it's completely paid for. But with us, it's low cost, and you get to pick your own providers. You get to pick your own health insurance
Nice.
plan. Again, going through a pregnancy in the Secret Service, using their health insurance has been the easiest thing. I've gotten to choose all of my providers.
Cool.
I get to choose what hospital, we go into labor at. And it's really incredible. And we have a language incentive program. So obviously if you speak Portuguese and you're fluent in it, we do an incentive payment program where if you're using it a certain number of hours a year, you'll get paid a bonus every year. So a lot of our Spanish speakers, we do have some Portuguese speakers, and then obviously a wide range. I know someone
That's
that
awesome.
speaks Hungarian, so
But the most impressive thing is flying and be laid down.
Oh,
like,
it's
you know.
Some
Yeah,
people
I
like the
just
car planes, so
hey,
I
I
love
just
that.
I just should travel to Las Vegas last weekend. Even I buy like a extra space and still bored. I'm too big.
Yeah,
I'm
you're a
like,
big guy.
please arrive.
Yeah. I always choose to go back by the dogs because no one really wants to be back by the dogs on the plane because you never know what's going to happen, but you have so much space. So I'll blow up my little air mattress, my camp pad. I take out my sleeping bag. I have my snacks. I put my headphones on and I just like rack out the 12-hour flight to Ramstein, Germany.
Oh my god.
You go on the big
Yeah. So
the ones we see on the usually on
Yeah, where they're driving the trucks up into the back. We ride.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah.
C5s, C17s. We're not on C130s that much, but C5s and C17s are our main mode of car planes. So we bring our limos, we bring everything on there, and then obviously we're partnering with the Air Force for that. So Air Force One is obviously flown by Air Force pilots.
Nice.
And so we are partnering with a ton of different agencies, Department of Defense, and it is really great because they provide also dogs for us a lot. So we'll have enlisted members with their dogs flying with us. So we're like, sitting next to an enlisted guy with his dog, and you're meeting so many really incredible people.
Oh, I can't imagine it. But
and I watch some sometimes documentaries. You see the work that the dog like the help the dogs have of finding things.
Yeah.
It's amazing, like how they like sometimes like they like snatch or something. It's like I would never thought about a place like that.
Yeah.
Like people hire stuff. I don't know how that works, but it's amazing how they can
support and help.
sense the
Smell,
Yeah,
Yeah.
the scent perception, and it's
It's,
pretty impressive. And
it makes your job
Oh,
easier
yeah.
too,
Oh,
right?
yeah, absolutely. And the K9 program, like Kate said, they go with us everywhere we go. All of our sites, overseas, locally, they're stationed at all points around the house and the
Yep.
VP. So it's a huge part of our security profile.
Yeah, and we have a great canine training facility at our James J. Rowley Training Center, which is actually just here in Laurel. So that's another thing for your local guys. If they make it through the process after going to Glencoe, Georgia, which is the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center, they get to come back to Maryland, and our training facility is right out of Laurel.
In
So
Laurel,
it's literally right
beside it here,
here.
yeah,
So
5,
it's
10
so
minutes, yeah.
I actually used to go to this Wegmans while I was in training to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
so, close by.
And one of the things that a lot of younger people have asked us about training is the expense of it. So once you're hired, you'll be housed. So all your
On the training time.
transportation, where you stay while you're in training, at FLETC, there's food on site there, so you'll be fed there. At RTC, you'll get per diem allowance. You'll be housed in local hotels. You're paid while you're trained. We give you the uniforms that you need. We provide pretty much everything. Maybe underwear and socks.
Yeah,
Bring
that's
your
all you
own.
bring.
Please. It's the minimum.
Can you,
Right?
hey, black or white, or anyone there? I'm almost telling you. Sometimes they come with sometimes you
Funny,
pull the key a little
funny
bit
underwear.
with the funny underwear. I was like, you distract everybody. Now we're gonna start creating rules for underwear now.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll leave it up to individual choice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but and we do obviously control tactics. So you have like mat shoes, and you're basically rolling with guys on the floor for training, which
Yeah.
is incredible. And like I said, a lot of our James J. Rowley Training Center trainers are practitioners of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or Krav, or they were collegiate wrestlers, you know, all along those lines. So we're learning how to properly manage hand-to-hand and
That's great.
de-escalate situations,
Yes.
right? So, but training is completely taken care of. From the moment I was hired, you're put on the payroll, you go through training, you're pulling your regular paycheck, as well as getting per diem, and then housing's taken care of. You're in a hotel, travel's taken care of.
That's amazing.
It's really, really a great career. And we get overtime as well.
Yeah.
So that's something that a lot of other federal agencies don't get as much. But because of our 24/7 protective mission, as well as sometimes investigations, you're getting overtime. So you're making even more money on top of whatever the salary is that you're getting. So
Yeah, have a good work ethic because you're going to work.
you're gonna work.
But, you know, it's good compensation and good rewards at the end of the day.
And I think beyond everything you're saying, the what I want to say is you're protecting us. It's something way beyond all those benefits. Like, I believe you live the life of protecting the country, protecting the civilians. You know, it's way beyond anything
And the
else.
benefits,
You know,
yeah.
like I think is like I have my personal missions. You know, like I want to use jiu-jitsu as a way to impact people's lives in a positive way, personal development. Unfortunately, we have some numbers that I think is not terrible about women assaulted. Like our mission, I'm always up to help women to learn about self-defense. I believe we will see more women in jiu-jitsu than men because physically women needs more jiu-jitsu than men.
Yeah.
Women needs to know where they park their car. I don't care about where I park my car. I just walk.
Yeah.
Women, unfortunately, you have to look at things that we don't even think. You know, like part of my mission is be able to bring more women to jiu-jitsu. We do that at PBJJF by we give free registration for women. You know, we want more women to train
To
jiu-jitsu
compete and be part
so
of.
they can be able to protect themselves. You
Yeah.
know, like it's part of our mission as well to be able to have a better society. You know, when we believe with more people train jiu-jitsu, a better world we have. You know, jiu-jitsu impacts people so much in a positive way that it can really make you a better person. And we believe if everybody trains jiu-jitsu, we're gonna have a better world. So that's kind of the mission we live by. And you're helping us to keep us safe, so we can do our work. You know, we're really trying to impact the community, the nationwide and hopefully global, you know, with PBJJF, because we really believe in the benefits that jiu-jitsu can bring to people.
And that's one of the reasons why we're here. And you said something about women that's really important is we're also trying to get more women into our organization. Obviously, I'm a minority. There's not as many female agents as there are male agents. And we have kind of a women's working group, which is incredible, where we are supporting not only women, but also male agents on the job and figuring out how can we retain female agents through childcare subsidies, through, you know, different forms of childcare. How can we basically allow them to continue to work on the job and be mothers and, you know, be wives? And it's the same thing for men. How can they stay on the job and be fathers and husbands? And so for us, looking at women who do jujitsu, women who were professional athletes, women who have incredible professional experience, getting them to apply because it is possible, right? And they make great agents. I'm obviously a testament, not that I'm a great agent, but being able to sit across from you guys and talk about the life that I've got to live as an agent is really important. So I want to make that very clear too, is everything that the Secret Service does is open to women. All of our special operations teams, you can go through the
Any
training.
position.
Any position is
Cool.
open to women. So
These are important. These are important.
yeah, and it's great. And I mean, we have a female on our counter assault team. We have women on our hammer programs. We have women's on. Yep. My best friend is a rescuer out of the New York field office. She's incredible. Probably one of the toughest women I know. But I mean, we even have women on our. We have one of the first women ever to be on the motors.
Motors, yeah.
And so she's driving a massive Harley Davidson.
As long as you want, you can go any
can do
any
it, yeah.
path by no matter what.
No matter what gender, you know, obviously, like, as you get older, some of these special operations teams become a little bit harder to do just because your body fails.
But you can decide of moving, right?
Exactly. Yep, it's your decision. And that's the biggest thing for me is when I speak to female athletes, female applicants, you know, recruits, is why this job is so good for women, but also why it's so good for their families and for, you know, our agency to have that diverse background. Very similar to kind of what you were talking about.
That's awesome.
That's
Thank you,
great.
guys.
Hey,
That's a great day.
You
Good
really
learning.
made it clear, more simple to understand for us that we don't have much. We don't understand much how the Secret Service works. It make you made it very exciting about working at the agents. Very approachable, which is great. You talk a lot about the benefits of joining the Secret Service, if you have the ability to apply, it's
Do it.
one of the best opportunities I have seen.
Yeah.
It's living the dream.
Yeah, we say what? Be tomorrow's Secret Service.
Be tomorrow's Secret Service.
Yeah.
Yes.
Be tomorrow's
Be
Secret
tomorrow,
Service.
so see here.
I want to thank you both for coming today. I hope
Yep.
we can. I hope one day we can go train
For
with
sure.
your instructors.
Yeah.
Maybe you
that
can
would be
like
wonderful.
cross
Maybe
train
to a
with them. That would
classic,
be
cross
amazing.
training, a seminar, or whatever.
We can talk with you guys about trying to set you up with a tour, or set some of your guys up for a tour of some of our facilities. And Kate has already been talking with one of our guys out at RTC, who I know him from other assignments, but he's a karate guy, and I think he does some CT stuff out at RTC. But he had some interest in connecting with you guys, so we can get you all hooked up with RTC, with our office, get you some tours. We're happy to take this opportunity to meet with you guys. We look forward to coming to your events, talking to any of your students or practitioners. We're happy to answer any questions and meet with anybody. Thank you for all your kind words.
Thank you, guys.
You know, on behalf of the SAC and the DSAC of our offices, Matt Stoller and Matt McCool, who have made a lot of the things that we do possible and have given us some latitude to kind of reach new ground and talk to different places and people. We really do want to find the best applicants. Costs nothing to apply. If someone has an interest, by all means, contact us and let us help you through the process.
Cool.
That's great. Everything you need from us, we're here to support. Anything you need, we're here.
Great. Thank you.
Just know.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
so much.
See you guys Sunday now.
Yeah.
Thanks for all your service. We really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
We just finished with the sponsorship.
Yes.
So
PBS, CRAWLSPACE, Brave Kimonos. Oh my God.
Perkins
Dental
Dental
Care.
Santos Lloyd Law
Law
Firm.
Firm.
So if you guys need any type of law service, immigration law service, maybe a citizenship, right? Maybe you're not a citizen yet. You need to become a citizen to apply.
Talk to Santos.
You can go to Santos Lloyd Law Firm. you can contact. They can work on applying, helping you to maybe get your citizenship. Then you can eventually apply for the Secret
Like
Service.
they help us, no?
And Brave Kimonos, thank for all the support. If you guys need any Brave products, go to bravekimonos.com. And thank
Use
you.
our code
and user
PBJJF10.
PBJJF10 and our partner Secret Service. What is the slogan for the Secret Service? What could we say?
Be tomorrow, Secret Service.
Be tomorrow, Secret Service.
Be Tomorrow Secret Service. You're gonna see the table and at PBJJF tournaments, table with PBJJF tournaments, so you can approach to the agents and talk and maybe see how you could become an agent.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Thank you so much
so
for
much,
being
guys.
USA.
Thank you.
It's such a pleasure to
Bye
talk to you.
bye. See you guys later.